And notably, overall feelings of safety in Western Springs ranked much higher than our national benchmarks. 96% of residents felt safe from violent crime, and 92% felt safe from property crime. Again, both higher than national benchmarks. And lastly, 88% felt safe, as you can see here, from flood, fire, or other natural disaster. In addition to feelings of safety, safety services were also well received, with 98% of residents providing positive ratings for ambulance or EMS services, 97% positive for fire services, 95% positive for fire prevention and education, and finally 93% positive for police or sheriff services. Crime prevention and animal control also received high marks with 93% and 86% respectively. All items that you see listed here on the slide were higher than the benchmark, except for fire services, which tends to receive rather high ratings nationwide, making it quite difficult to beat that benchmark. And then finally, before we move on to some areas of growth or potential areas of focus, I do want to close out this part of the presentation where we focus on highlights and just place a little bit of a special focus on some of the items here that ranked among the top of our benchmark database. So these items received higher ratings than all or nearly all other communities in our database. This is a rather long list, some of the highest ratings that I've seen in my 3 years here. These included overall sense of community, which ranked first out of 332 communities in our database. The preservation of historical or cultural characteristics in the community also ranked first out of 281 communities. Neighborliness of residents ranked first out of 302. Fire prevention and education ranked first out of 314. Residents' neighborhood as a place to live ranked second out of 327. Western Springs as a place to raise children ranked second out of 363. Feelings of safety in the downtown and commercial areas during the day ranked second out of 317. And finally, the overall sense of civic and community pride ranked second out of 281.
Can we pause?
Okay, so with that, we'll turn our attention then finally here to a few potential areas of focus that were highlighted in the survey results.
Jason?
First and foremost, utilities and mobility infrastructure were highlighted as potential areas of concern for residents. While several of the utility-related items were positively rated, including garbage collection, as you can see here, and affordable high-speed internet access, those actually both ranked above national benchmarks. The overall quality of utility infrastructure was rated positively by only 38% of respondents. Just over half of residents offered positive marks for both drinking water and stormwater management, both of which ranked lower than our national comparisons. And other utility ratings were largely similar to the national benchmark, including such things as power utility with an 84% positive rating and 69% positive scores for sewer services. Likewise, many items related to mobility scored high, including ease of travel by car, ease of walking, ease of travel by bicycle, and ease of travel by public transportation. You can see again here that all of those ranked higher than our national comparisons. Still, residents did share some concerns here regarding lighting and upkeep, with 56% of residents offering positive marks for street lighting and sidewalk maintenance, and only 3 in 10 providing positive ratings for street repair, representing the only item related to mobility that ranked lower than benchmark comparisons. And then finally, residents shared relatively lower ratings for cost of living and shopping and employment opportunities. So the overall economic health of Western Springs was rated positively by 78% of respondents, ranking higher than our national benchmark averages. Other economy-related items were positively rated by a majority of respondents as well, and you can see a few of them here, including the overall quality of business and service establishments, as well as economic development. But residents also highlighted some potential areas of focus and growth. Around 6 in 10 positively rated the vibrancy of downtown and commercial areas, as well as the variety of business and service establishments. 45% rated shopping opportunities, positively rated shopping opportunities, and 39% did the same for employment opportunities, while cost of living was rated positively by only 33% of residents. Now, despite some of these ratings being relatively lower when compared to other economic items, all items within this facet of economy ranked similar to national benchmarks, except for the overall economic health item, which, as I mentioned before, scored above comparisons. So a quick summary here of conclusions. You can see some of the highest performing areas listed at the top there. These were pulled out again by the survey research team here at Polka. First, residents offered high ratings for Western Springs government performance. Second, residents value many aspects of community design. And third, safety continues to be a priority and a strength for Western Springs residents. And then two potential areas of focus here as well. Utilities and mobility infrastructure were highlighted as potential areas of concerns for residents. And finally, residents shared relatively lower ratings for cost of living and shopping and employment opportunities. So this last slide here is more for you. As you are debriefing the survey results or starting to discuss ways in which you want to use these results as you make plans and policies moving forward, we often think that these 4 questions are a good place to start. So this might be something to turn back to as you start to dive into the report a little bit more and discuss some potential policy changes because of these results. And so with that, I'd love to open it up to any questions that you have about the development of the survey or the report that has been shared with you. And I really thank you for your attention and for your time.
Okay, am I mic'd? Can you hear us?
Jason, can you hear?
I can, yes.
Okay. Thank you for that presentation. This is really great data and appreciate how you've shared it. Can you go back to the slide that listed the first out of 319, the list?
I certainly can. You're still able to see my screen and me scrolling here, I hope?
Yes.
Okay, great. Here, I can make it a little bit bigger if that helps.
So this is obviously a terrific slide of some amazing, wonderful results that
yes,
we should feel extremely proud of. Is this the subset benchmark? This is the towns that are similar, or this is the total benchmark?
This is the total national benchmark.
So then this slide and then all of the subsequent slides are based on the total benchmark. Where do we see the results of the subset?
That's correct. So throughout the majority of the report, you will see comparisons to national benchmarks. As you go to the back half of the report, you will see a separate tab there for custom benchmark comparisons, okay, which allows you to actually filter it by facet. I can also go back to our slide here that shows our comparisons to our custom group as well. They're very similar in total number, but here's our overall comparisons to that smaller cohort.
Right, okay. Okay, so that's the custom benchmarks, okay.
Yeah, so the scores where it was first and second overall, those were first and second overall in the nation, right? So that's based on 300 to 400 comparison communities, all of which had completed the NCS in the last 3 to 4 years. So it's all fresh and relatively new results.
Were we that high in any measures 15 years ago? Or 10 years ago, excuse me?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Were we first or second in categories like that when we ran the survey 10 years ago?
Oh. I would have to dig back into the 2015 survey and look at your benchmark table. I can certainly get you the same breakdown and look at that. In comparison to your 2015 numbers, you can see that on the slide here as well. So a good, about a third, higher, similar, and lower. I'd have to dig into the 2015 numbers to see if there are similar numbers, but Logan and I can certainly pull that for you and get you that information.
Okay. Again, those are just great numbers, great responses. Okay. Other questions from?
Yeah, Jason, can you go to the early on the overall confidence in government page?
I certainly can. This one?
Yes, can you explain the bottom one there, the overall confidence in Western Springs government at 67%? What does that mean?
So that's all the scores that you're seeing here are what we call percent positive scores. Almost every question on the survey has an excellent, good, fair, poor, or don't know scale. And what you're seeing here is the combination of scores that were excellent or good. And so in this case, over 2/3 provided excellent or good scores, and that number was more than 10 points above our national average, which is why it's the higher shade.
And the other third, or other 33% were fair or poor?
That's exactly right.
And it was, do we know what that question was posed as exactly what we see here? What's your overall confidence in Western Springs government? And then people would, 2/3 would say good or excellent, and 1/3 would say fair or poor.
That's exactly right.
Do we know how many were poor and how many were fair?
I can grab that number for you right now.
The survey copy is in your packet, and it shows like the
Okay.
exact question. That was question number 10. Please rate the following categories of government performance.
The overall confidence in Western Springs government was rated excellent by 18%, good by 50%, fair by 24%, and poor by 8%.
Okay, thank you.
So this is definitely an introduction to the results, and we'll have time over the next few months to really digest all of this. And our intent is that we will use this as we go back into our strategic planning mode in early 2025, and the board sets priorities, and we begin to kind of make direction for the coming year. So please don't expect to, I did not expect you to have digested everything that was in the packet, but we really felt like having this introduction and hearing from Jason would be very helpful. I know we as a staff were very interested to hear Jason and Logan's responses in terms of what they saw. I think it's fair to say probably, Jason, that you were very pleased with our turnout in terms of
Yes.
respondents. As well as the really positive results that we received, well above the national average on, pretty much.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, when Logan shared the report with me, it's my job to go through it and prepare for this presentation. I actually double checked some of the math and things because these numbers are very, very good. And I would say our response numbers as well, being at a 25% response rate and over 800 responses to an online-only randomly selected survey, that's very, very strong. Our standard response rate right now is probably between 10 and 15%. So to be up at that number is a testament to Western Springs residents who want to give their opinion and obviously feel, as you can see here, that it's taken into account.
Thank you. Any other questions for Jason while we have him on? We'll certainly have the opportunity to go back through this as we move forward. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. And if anything does come up, feel free to reach out to myself or Logan, and we'll be happy to hop back on another call or send an email to describe questions. Anything that you have, we're here to help.
Any comments from you, Selman or Casey?
I just wanted to say, in addition to thanking my colleagues in the village manager's office and to POCL for their support, I wanted to give a special thanks to our friends at Thomas Ford Memorial Library who offered technical support to any resident who had challenges accessing the computer survey. So thank you to them. They did help a number of people who were having challenges. And then finally to Mick Cagney, who personally gave a lot of time and energy to our seniors and actually went over the survey with some of them by phone, and certainly talked through some of them in terms of accessing it on the computer as well. So this was a real team effort in our community, and I'm very pleased with the percentage of results. And thank you, Jason.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you.
All right, okay, very good. Well, that was fantastic.
Yes.
Okay, moving on then to our next item of old business. We are going to talk about the LRS refuse and recycling contract.
Yes, I would, for discussion of the LRS refuse and recycling contract, I would turn that over to Deputy Manager Casey Bernacki.
Thank you, Trustee Tiro. In your packet tonight, everyone, you'll have a staff memo as well as a proposed fee schedule that we'll be running through tonight to talk about a proposed agreement with LRS and the Village of Western Springs. As some of you may recall, back in 2020, we started utilizing Lakeshore Recycling LLC, or LRS as I'll be referring to them, starting January 1st, 2020, extending to December 31st of this year, 2024, with it expiring at the end of this year. Tonight, staff is here to run through our memo. We also have a representative, Bill Kenny. He's our account manager with LRS. He's here to answer any questions on the LRS side. So I'm going to run through my memo quickly, and then we will have time for question and answer for either Bill or I at the end. Again, just a little bit of background. We do have a contract expiring on December 31st, 2024. We started negotiations with LRS earlier this year to discuss a future agreement. We've gone back and forth with some draft proposals, mainly focused on the fee schedule. We're not expecting any action from the board tonight. We won't be recommending anything for you to consider this evening. It will be likely November 11th, the November board meeting, where staff may come back with a draft agreement, a red light agreement of our current contract with LRS, and a fee schedule. But tonight we want to go through the fee schedule in particular, because that's really where a lot of the changes are going to be in terms of what you see in the contract. Just for some background, we do, as we always do when it comes to services for our residents, we always look to our neighbors and to other comparable communities to see what the market is paying for their services. So you'll see a list in the memo of communities that we did compare these proposed rates to. LaGrange Park, Westmont, Hinsdale, Brookfield, and Riverside all have a variety of different refuse and recycling vendors, with LaGrange Park having a more recent LRS contract. So I want to point your attention to the fee schedule, the proposed fee schedule in your packet. And I want to go through just a couple points here of the major changes. First, you'll see a year one increase in 2025. It's a little higher than we've seen in subsequent years, especially in our prior contract. But overall, I do want to say that the pricing for that 2025, although you'll see a $1.46 to $3.54 increase based on some of the services provided, could be curbside, could be backdoor, and then there's a variety of different gallon-sized carts. Overall, even with the 2025 increase, you will see that we are a little closer to the other market communities I've listed above. It's very competitive pricing. And I want to just note that our first contract, of course, January 1, 2020, was agreed to upon before the COVID-19 pandemic and before a lot of the economic changes in the market. So over the last 4 years, our residents have enjoyed some pre-pandemic pricing that are a little lower than what you'd find in the market today. But overall, I will say, even with the year one increase in 2025, we found that we're still on the low end of our pricing when it comes to the communities that we've looked at in this study. Similarly, in the out years, years 2 to 5, 2026 to 2029, you'll see annual increases that are 4% for any of the curbside services and the yard or organic waste, stickers and extra carts, all 4% year increases. For the backdoor program, we found it to be more of an average of 3.97%. There's some fluctuations throughout some of the years there, but overall the average increase for backdoor cart programs looks to be 3.97. And again, 4% increases is generally consistent with what we're seeing in the market with some of these comparable communities. It is worth noting that we only have data for the Village of LaGrange Park and Westmont that extends out a little farther. LaGrange Park in particular extending out to 2028. So there are a couple contracts in there that are going to be renegotiated over the next couple of years, but that is the data we have available. And again, 4% looks pretty consistent with what we're seeing in other communities. And then the senior citizen discount. So currently today we have a 10% senior service rate for curbside services. It's a 10% discount for anyone that is 65 or older. It's actually quite uncommon if you look at our comparable contracts. Most contracts have something more akin to a single cart size, like a 35-gallon cart size, that may be a discounted rate. And our 10% discount across all curbside pickup services was important for us to try to maintain. So we did work with LRS. Again, it's uncommon to see something like that, at least in the comparable communities we've looked at. But we were able to maintain a 10% discount for the 35-gallon curbside carts. For 65 and 95-gallon carts, individuals have to meet a little bit more of a criteria. They have to be over 65 years of age or older, and then they also have to meet an income requirement, which is an annual income of $65,000 or less. That's pretty consistent with how we currently offer senior discounts for our water and sewer utility and our stormwater utility fee. But again, maintaining that 10% discount for any of the cart gallon sizes was important to us, as that's what our seniors are enjoying today. And then lastly, our experience with LRS. It was breezed through a little quickly on the Polk community survey results tonight, but you'll see it in your report. Our residents reported a 95% satisfaction survey, satisfaction rating for refuse and recycling services. From a staff perspective, we see the same. We get a lot of positive feedback from our LRS, from residents about LRS. We actually don't hear from residents very often because most of them call LRS directly, and whatever issues they're dealing with are taken care of before they come to us. But anything that does come to us in a rare instance, we've typically reached out to Bill and his team and received some pretty quick and efficient responses. So from a staff perspective, the experience with LRS has been very beneficial. From the survey results, you see the community feels the same. One additional financial impact that you'll see on that survey matrix revolves around leaf pickup. So if you recall, 2 years ago, we started utilizing LRS services to dispose of leaves. Our folks still pick them up, our public works crews still pick them up, drop them off at our public works facility, and then LRS comes in and trucks them out to a composting facility. We wanted to include that in this new contract. It was an addendum before. We wanted it to be memorialized in the contract. There's a couple challenges there. Currently today we're paying $950 per truckload. LRS has informed us that although they can control their trucking costs, they don't have the ability to guarantee a long-term rate for the composting facility that they use. So they've guaranteed us a trucking rate for the next 2 years at $1,050 per truck. But we are going to add some language into the contract that allows us to have conversations with LRS and determine if those composting costs get too high, if we want to look at a different avenue to dispose leaves. But for the next 2 years, we feel the increase, it's a $100 increase for 2025 and 2026. We feel that is just fine from a staff perspective. But that's just something to note. We'll add some language to allow us to analyze that on an annual basis. And with that, I think I've gotten through most of my memo. If you have any questions for me or staff, we're here to answer. And LRS, Bill from LRS is also here as well.
I think that was pretty thorough.
Yeah, no questions here.
The
Bill,
chart
would
is
you
very
like to say
helpful.
anything? You're welcome to come to the podium. There's a microphone here if you don't mind using that. It picks up on our video. It was on.
It's on. Hello? Hello? Oh. Sorry about the awkward start there, but thank you, Casey, for the introduction, and thank you, President Rudolph and Village Manager Baird, trustees, and everybody that we've worked with in this great community for the last 5 years. It's been a privilege to work with you On a personal level, I grew up in LaGrange, went to LT, and my family's still in LaGrange. I probably mentioned that ad nauseum the first time around, but they're still all there, and I have a lot of good friends that live in Western Springs. So I'm deeply familiar with how great this community is, and we're just very proud to be part of it, and look forward to the opportunity if we are lucky enough to get another 5 years from you all. So that's really my statement, but if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those as well.
I think the service has been good. I mean, speaking as a resident too.
Yes.
So it's, yeah, it's been, I think, a very positive change from what we did previously. And I think if we're not seeing many questions or calls coming in, it seems kind of to be a universal perspective. So, yeah, so thank you.
Can I ask how many communities you work with? I mean, are you just in the Chicago area? Are you, I don't know much about, yeah, just curious.
No, that's okay. So, yeah, we've scaled quite a bit over the last 5+ years.
Okay.
We are now in 9 different states, so we
Oh,
haul over
okay.
200 communities, but this is where we started.
Oh, okay.
This is one of the, Western Springs, probably one of the first 10, 15 communities we've ever had. And this
Oh.
really sort of helped us plant a flag. That sounds a little precious, but,
that's great,
really
though.
sort of get out in the western suburbs. So in Chicagoland, I manage about 20, 25
Okay.
communities. We have other ones too that I don't manage,
Oh,
but
I see.
yeah, so we've scaled quite a bit. And I think
Sounds like
in
it.
a very deliberate way, not sort of the Krispy Kreme, sort of too much, too fast.
Oh, is that the case study on that? Okay. Okay, yeah.
So, and
Okay.
thank you, President Ruda, for the kind words. These renewals, we all love new business and new revenue, as any company does, of course, but these to me are the report cards. These are the most important ones.
Okay.
Because we're gonna be told how good or how poorly we're doing, and it's gonna be reflected in whether or not we get to re-up with you, so.
Great, thank you.
I find your prices very reasonable. I've been in this community for over 20 years, and you've been with us for the last 4.
Yes, sir.
And I'd say I'm paying at least half what I used to pay before. And the service is excellent, but I also find the price very good as well.
And
So-
I'm grateful for that. And I have to throw a bouquet of roses at your team. First time around, you and Elaine and your staff, and this time around with Casey and his team have been very good stewards on behalf of you guys, and we've had to earn it. If we get it, I don't presume we're going to renew, but they've been very good brokers on behalf of the communities. But yeah, no, I think you made a really great point, which is this current price, we don't move goalposts, but the pricing we had predated COVID, and we didn't have a lot of the headwinds that we all know that you have in terms of the market. We saw, I think, CPI at almost 8% a couple of years ago, and we'll, bless you, we're just fine with where we're at. We hope you guys are too. Our 30% of our expenses are labor and disposal, and we had a very steep increase with Local 731 last year, and they're hardworking guys, and they deserve it, but they also don't work cheap, nor should they, for what they do. But consider all those things considered, yeah, we're still hopefully able to keep the prices reasonable.
I don't know if this is the forum, and if it's not, you can put my question to the side. But on the recyclables, I'm always curious. I mean, I try to be really good about, like, how much actually get recycled. I mean, do you have a really, if this isn't the right forum, I don't, but I'm very curious about the recyclables. Like, what is your plant like, and does it pick everything through, and how much actually, does it, like, mechanically
Yeah.
separate it?
I love the question. And
Do
again,
you?
like,
Okay.
If you ask my wife, she'll be like, okay, that's enough.
Oh.
Because I just want to keep talking and talking. We have a residual rate, meaning what we're not able to take is probably around 20%,
Okay.
which is very high, so which means about 80% of what comes through, and that varies a little bit, is going to get recycled. We have those partnerships that can take things that are less
Okay.
conventional
Yeah.
as well, so it helps. But we have different facilities. We have facilities we have what we call our Heartland facility, which is essentially 55 and Harlem Avenue.
Yes, I know, I think I
which-
passed that, right.
Yeah, you've probably seen it a million times
Yeah.
as you go into the city.
Right.
We just built a new facility a couple of years ago. It opened in the back of the yards, the stockyards
Okay.
area, which we process about between 20 and 30 tons an hour of recyclables.
Oh.
So we have a lot of really great facilities and a lot of great, people that work at those facilities and staff those
Okay.
facilities, and it's sort of a mix of sort of the human element, people sort of being the first line of defense, picking out the riffraff, and then you have optic sorters, ballistic sorters, all sorts of different things, robotics, AI
Oh, okay.
to sort this stuff. But the brass tacks, I think your question was how much gets recycled. Recycled, it's about 75 to 80%, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, and please, make us put our money where our mouth is. We would always want you to come out for a tour of those facilities too.
Okay. Maybe I'll check your website. I know there's tips and we need to be more mindful, but I want to do my part as well to make sure I put the right things in there and they're cleaned and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Well, it helped initially, if you don't mind me
Yeah.
editorializing very quickly.
Oh.
It helped when you switched to an à la carte program.
Right.
From your last program where you had this sort of bifurcated bags and
Yes.
versus, right. Because just by the bags alone, that's gonna sort of offset a lot of the good recycling that people want to
Okay.
do. But people are very cognizant, as you all know better than me, of recycling and sustainability in this community. So it's
Okay.
first rate here. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome, absolutely. Okay.
Thank you,
Now
Phil.
gets to the slide presentation.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay. All right. Very good. That was very informative. Thank you. Okay, we will move on then to new business and Trustee Terrell.
Yes, I have two items of new business. The first being Resolution Number 24-2845, approving and authorizing the execution of a third addendum to employment agreement to be entered into with Village Manager Ellen J. Bear. So do we vote on that, or? Individually.
Okay, so we need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, then roll call vote.
Yes, President Rudolph. Trustee Avakian?
Aye.
Trustee Chen?
Aye.
Trustee Fink?
Aye.
Trustee Lewis?
Aye.
Trustee Tyrrell?
Aye.
President Rudolph.
Aye.
The resolution is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. The second item I would have of new business is agenda item number 2, motion to cancel the November 25, 2024 regular meeting of the President and Board of Trustees and change the November 11th, 2024 workshop meeting of the President and Board of Trustees to a combined workshop and special meeting of the President and Board of Trustees.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Yes. Trustee Avakian?
Aye.
Trustee Chen?
Aye.
Trustee Fink?
Aye.
Trustee Lewis?
Aye.
Trustee Tyrrell?
Aye.
President Rudolph.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Very good. Okay. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to the omnibus. And as a reminder, the Illinois state statutes allow a municipality to collectively vote on a group of ordinances, resolutions, and other motions, such as awards of contract, appointments, etc. This is known as an omnibus vote. All the items contained on the omnibus vote list have been previously discussed by the President and Board of Trustees on at least one occasion and often on several occasions. By placing them on the omnibus vote list, a single vote may be taken to approve them. A trustee may remove any item from the list and have it discussed and voted on separately prior to the omnibus vote. Is there any such request?
Yes, Madam President, I would be seeking to remove item 7 from the omnibus, as we will reconsider it at our November 11th meeting.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Then that being said, President Rudolph, I'd move that the following ordinances, resolutions, and motions as contained on the meeting agenda for October 28th, 2024 be adopted and/or approved under an omnibus vote. Agenda item number 1, approval of the September 23rd, 2024 minutes as read. Agenda item number 2, resolution number 24-2846, Resolution authorizing the approval and execution of supplemental letter agreement with Exhibit A, supplemental lot list and special assessment number 05-01, release of the lien amounts. Exhibit B, McNaughton Architectural Design Plans for Timber Trails Residential Home Products. And Exhibit C, Timber Trails Plan Review Permit Fees and Closing Fees regarding the sale and development of a lot within Unit 1 of the Timber Trail subdivision, 5910 Cottonwood Court, Lot 78, seller 1625 North Burling LLC, and buyer developer McNaughton Development LLC, N. Agenda item number 3, resolution number 24-2847, resolution waiving the competitive bid process and authorizing the approval and execution of a contract with Gordian Group and Robe Incorporated of Chicago, Illinois, for furnishing of labor, materials, and construction for the Public Works Entrance Gate project, and authorizing the expenditure of village funds in the amount of $121,150.98 to pay for the project. Agenda item number 4, resolution number 24-2848, resolution authorizing the approval and execution of a professional services agreement with Corello Engineering for completion of a condition and needs assessment of the village's water production system. Agenda item number 5, resolution number 24-2849, resolution authorizing the approval of the June 1st, 2024 payment TIF incentive rebate payment to Hawthorne 45 LLC and the transfer of TIF funds into the Downtown South TIF Incentive Fund for the benefit of the Western Springs Downtown South TIF District. Agenda item number 6, resolution number 24-2850, resolution approving the regular meeting schedule for the 2025 calendar year of the President and Board of Trustees of the Village of Western Springs. And agenda item number 8, ordinance number 24-3220, ordinance approving budget amendments / transfer over $10,000 to the fiscal year 2024 operating budget in the Downtown South TIF Fund.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, very good. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes, President Rudolph. Trustee Avakian?
Aye.
Trustee Chen?
Aye.
Trustee Fink?
Aye.
Trustee Lewis?
Aye.
Trustee Tyrrell?
Aye.
The ordinances, resolutions, and motions contained in the agenda of October 28th, 2024 are hereby adopted and approved.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. We will move on now to our reports, and we'll begin with the monthly financial reports. Trustee Chen.
Thank you. The monthly report for August and September 24 was in the packet for tonight's meeting. I'm just going to call out a couple items and go over specifically the investment activity. The investment activity is presented for September 2024. The Illinois Metropolitan Investment Fund average daily yield was 4.93%. In August, the Police Pension Fund posted realized and unrealized gains of 1.97%. The Police Pension Fund posted realized and unrealized gains of 1.56% and maintained a trailing 12-month return of 21.45% at the end of September. The market value of the police pension portfolio increased to approximately $20.380 million, with an additional $1.055 million in cash. Investment opportunities for the operating funds have remained strong as the Federal Reserve rates remain high. Target range of 4.75% to 5% as of September 18, 2024. The Federal Reserve decreased its target range by 50 basis points, or 0.5%, marking the first cut in 4 years. Forecasts indicate that another half point of cuts through 2024 and 1 percentage point of additional cuts in 2025. Although this may lessen investment returns in the upcoming year, it would also potentially lead to a more favorable market in issuing debt, as we are coming up to a bond issuance for stormwater projects. And then the only other fund I'm going to talk about is the water sewer fund. Consumption billed in August, period covering May 15th, 2024 to July 15th, 24, and consumption billed in September, period covering June 15th to August 15th. Although the two periods billed were higher, consumption compared to the same period in the previous year by about 12%, year-to-date consumption is about 12.5% less than year-to-date billed in 2023. And that concludes my presentation of the August and September 2024 financial reports. Is there any questions? Nope. Okay, I will make a motion to accept the August 2024 and September 2024 financial reports as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, President Rudolph. Trustee Avakian.
Aye.
Trustee Chen.
Aye.
Trustee Fink.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Tyrrell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Trustee Chen.
Thank you.
Okay, I have no report. I just would like to acknowledge the approval of Manager Bear's contract and just say on behalf of the board, we just want to recognize you for your valuable contributions and just your leadership here in the community. So
Thank you very much.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And that's my report. So, Village Manager Bear.
I just have a couple of items. This is the last week that we'll be hosting our pumpkin hunt in the downtown businesses. Just a reminder, there's hidden white pumpkins in many of the businesses throughout the downtown. If residents or visitors to the downtown would like to participate, they have a chance to win $50 in Whiz Bucks if they find the pumpkin in the store and enter the drawing. So again, that will be going through October 31st, and then the winner will be selected from those who entered. Also, we hosted the trick-or-treating hours. Thursday is Halloween, and trick-or-treating hours will be between 3 and 8 p.m. It looks like the weather's going to be very good. Our staff will be out in full force, making sure the kids are out safe, and we look forward to a very happy Halloween. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is before our next board meeting, we will be beyond Halloween, and people will be ready to get rid of their pumpkins. And so we will, again, be hosting the Pumpkin Smash. Davey Chavez has been working very hard on the event again this year. It will take place at the St. John of the Cross parking lot on Saturday, November 9th from 9 to noon. And many volunteers from the community, as well as some of our staff, will be out there to collect the pumpkins and divert them from being put in landfills. They will be composted. LRS, who you talked to tonight, they do a wonderful job of taking those and composting them at a local farm. So we're excited to be able to have that event again, and thanks to Daisy for coordinating. That's all I have.
Great, very good. All right, Attorney Jurusik.
Yeah, just briefly, this board also serves as the Board of Local Improvements, and you do oversee payments, reimbursable payments and payouts regarding infrastructure and certain reimbursables that need to get paid with respect to timber trails. We need to have another one of those meetings. It's been a while. John, do you want to give the board just a quick update?
Yes, yeah, it's been a couple of years since we've had a Board of Local Improvement meeting, also known as BOLI. I would like to convene a meeting on November 11th to start right before the board meeting, so 6:59 p.m. It's tasked with overseeing, as Attorney Jurusik said, the public improvements. And it's just part of the process of what we have to do to be able to submit for reimbursement of approved expenditures.
That's all my report.
All right, very good. Do we have then a motion to adjourn?
Yes, I'd have a motion to adjourn tonight's regular meeting of the President and Board of Trustees.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks for seconding me.
Oh, sure.
Oh, and that's